Welcome, true believers. It's me, Shane, and I'm here to give you another Loki season 2 episode review. This is the finale. I think it's the entire series finale. It is entitled Glorious Purpose. Before I go any further, please adhere to your glorious purpose. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of more videos just like this one. It it helps me out more than you realize. So I'm still kind of dumbfounded. I've had to write some notes here and I got some notes here, but wow, 1 hour. I mean, I believe it was titled 51 minutes, but 51 minutes, that's basically an hour. Um, I cannot believe how fantastic this whole season is. This is without a doubt. I can scratch this off now. Loki's without a doubt, both season 1 and season 2, the best MCU show. Yeah, period. This is kind of how you should be doing your MCU shows. Not saying that every show has to copy Loki. What I'm saying is there you took something that we knew, which is Loki, throughout all of phase 1, 2, and 3 of the MCU. You took Loki and you said, okay, here's a slight spin on it. Introduce a new element into the MCU, the multiverse, and you expand upon it. We grow with certain characters. We tend to like or dislike certain characters, such as Mobius. Everybody likes Mobius. I am 50-50 on Sylvie, but I'll tell you why in a minute. And then hate Renslayer, who she got what she deserved at the end of this. Yes, you get what you deserve. But this is how you do it. Man. Um let me tell the plot real quick. Let's tell the plot. I'm not going to go play by play. Let's talk about this plot, right? So remember, he learned how to control the time slipping body slide. Learn how to do that. So our man's is back there. He's saying when everything fails, he asks OB, "What could we? If you could change it all, what would you do?" We got to do it faster. Okay, so each time Loki goes back, he's trying to speed up the process. So much so to the fact where he goes back to where Miss Menace, Renslayer, and Brad have held Victor Timely. And he's like, look, Miss Menace, I get it. You're upset. You're angry. You're hurt. But we really need him so he can fix the temporal loom right now and save the TVA. And everybody in that room is looking at him. And you get an audible blink from Miss Menace. That is hilarious. That is how you do comedy in a dire situation. And we get to a point where Loki is he's done it so many times where I think now we're at the point where he's asking OB and what is our guy OB and Victor Timely and Casey, how long is it going to take me to learn physics, engineering, and all this? And he's like, probably a couple centuries. Cool. We actively get almost SpongeBob esque, but less funny. Century later, Loki knows everything. He basically probably knows the handbook backwards and forward. He's able to bring Victor in. The point where we saw Victor meet Obi. Hey, you both wrote the book. Here's the loom. Don't worry. Here's the scale. Don't worry. Obi, it's nice. Victor has this thing, and Sylvie and Mobius are kind of like something's off about him. They can't put the finger on it, but something's off about him. And Loki has done this so many times that he is setting up everything to succeed to the point where telling Victor Timely, don't drop it on the gangway because it's gonna roll off. Make sure you put down your helmet and latch it on because you will burst into strings of nothing. Which, okay, that makes sense on why he died. Um, was it a bunch of different things? And when we get to this point where we finally get to watch it work, after centuries of Loki's hard work, everything goes right, but it's not enough. The loom cannot accommodate the branches, even Victor Timely. And I love that Loki knew what he was going to say. So it comes into question if they had came this far before, or or it comes into question. It'll come into question later if Loki had went back in time again to try to fix it, and he's heard this a couple times. And basically Timely says it's impossible because it's like dividing by zero. The loom was not made to measure infinite branches. Like the branches are branching off infinitely. And he says sorry. And Sylvie doesn't say sorry. She should though, because she comes to the realization, as does Loki, that none of this would happen if he who remains was not killed. So of course, what does Loki do? We go all the way back to episode 6 of season 1, where he gets in his body. And I love the visual effect of like, so if you know anything about, I don't want to call it fantasy, but let's say science fiction. If you know anything about science fiction with time travel, either you time travel and you see yourself, you don't interact with it, or you time travel, you wind up in your body at that point in time. Quantum leap ish in a way, right? And I like that Loki does his time travel, not how Tony Stark and Tony Stark, Paul Rudd and Bruce Banner, Paul Rudd, Ant-Man and Bruce Banner all say how time travel actually works in Endgame. I like that it works this way. It's a lot more fun. And the visual of him coming inside his body, it's like his body's pulling itself apart and coming back together, kind of like almost like the symbiote coming off of a host, right? And it's to those who, well, at least to Sylvie and he who remains, it's obvious that something has happened. And now Loki, sorry, that's almost me. Loki is now in the loop with Sylvie, where he keeps trying to tell her, "Don't kill him. No, I don't care about a throne. Don't kill him because things are gonna get bad. Well, the only way you can stop me is you gotta kill me." And he gets to so many loops now where he's saying, "Why are you just sitting there? Fight back." And he who remains does this little time thing, stops Sylvie and gets her out of the way because she's an eyesore. And he says, "You've done this a couple thousand times, haven't you? How many times have we had this conversation? You know, you should be able to stop time now." At your point, he who remains orchestrated the time slipping, orchestrated all of this. He even said, "Did you really think I would let her kill me? What did I tell you at the end? Reincarnation, baby." First of all, I'm gonna talk about characters in a minute, but I wish he who remains would have remained in the MCU. You got rid of him, and then for some stupid reason, Marvel, you got rid of Kang the Conqueror in Ant-Man 3, which, by the by, I've said it in my Marvels review. I'm going to say it here. You are insane for blaming Jonathan Majors, Kang, for that movie not doing well. Modoc, that's all I have to say. Or how about the line of "Don't be a dick," and that's supposed to be that was supposed to like rally us and be like, "Yeah, don't be a dick. That's funny and good at the same." No, 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 because Jonathan Major shows in this episode here, um, his portrayal of the character and its variants are phenomenal and help bring this series together. Like Tom Hiddleston, man, I gotta hand it to him. Tom Hiddleston is like the heart of all of this. And then you have K Kwan. He became a really nice meaty part of this. And when you have Jonathan Majors here, those three phenomenal. Everyone else adds a nice good spice to this stew that we have. Amazing. But seeing He Who Remains, I'm so thankful, because if I don't ever get a Jonathan Majors Kang variant again, because I mean Ezra Miller can be Flash, but Jonathan Majors, who was proven to not do anything, he has to stay here. But whatever, he has to be gone. But whatever. But the conversation that they have, tangent over, conversation they have is so good to the point where, you know, Majors, He Who Remains is gonna restart it. Just like, well, you figure this out. And Loki pauses time. He's like, "What makes you think this is the first time we had this conversation?" So they have this conversation is like the. I feel like this is the climax here, because now Loki has a decision to make after this really good. really good back and forth. You either kill Sylvie and you work with me to save what we can, because he who remains has this throne, this lonely throne, preventing the end of everything, another multiversal war that will kill everybody. And I appreciate he who remains is scary narcissism, his scary silliness that we are reintroduced to when he's talking to Loki. And then as the conversation continues, calls him kiddo. You can tell he's been around for eons, but as the conversation continues, he's very serious. He's very, very serious, going, hey, it's a zero sum situation. You either save everybody, or you either save some people, or you save her, or you save nobody, right? You save Sylvie or you save no one. Which, my issues with Sylvie is not that he chose to save her, but I'll get to that in a second. And Loki sees an equation on the wall, and he goes, "I'll just change the equation." He's like, "You can't. The temporal loom was always a fail safe, and once it goes off, it gets rid of all the branches and makes one sacred timeline," which makes sense. It makes sense now. But and TVA was collateral damage, apparently, because he who remains says we can just rebuild that. But if that's the case, I guess. Oh yeah, it did say branching timeline in episode 5. Everyone else's timeline it was branching timelines. They went back to the original timelines, but those timelines were not supposed to be there. I called it the same way we called it at the same time. Hey, Brofist right there. Um, so Loki gonna stop this. He's gonna figure out what he can do, because it seems like there's nothing he can do. He goes back to the very first meeting with Mobius, expertly gets around that. Asks Mobius, how do you make, the tough decisions? Where's the comfort in doing what needs to be done? He's like, there is no comfort. And as a matter of fact, I want to go. This part of these I want to, you know, how do you choose who lives and who dies? It's the proper flow of time. What comfort is that? And Mobius reaffirms this is the TVA. You won't find comfort. And he tells the story about how there's a variant that pops up that's going to kill 5,000 people. It's at the Black Sea. And the hunters get there. And when they get there, it's a baby. And this one hunter can't do it. But then all of a sudden, it's too late. The timelines start branching. Other hunters die. Other things happen. And this hunter's partner prunes the kid, right? And, you know, most purpose, I love this line, most purpose is more burden than glory. Trust me, you never want to be the guy who avoids it, because you can't live with the burden. And he's like, well, how do you live with it? And he's scar tissue, that's pretty much every life lesson, right? Whether you're living with regret, living with either doing the right thing or living with doing the wrong thing for a right reason, or wrong reason, just any reason, dealing with things ending, people passing, people leaving, people coming, people going. You just deal with it. It is a part of existence. I was going to say part of life, but it's a part of existence. Um, and when Loki just flat out says, "So what happened to your partner?" I love the fact that he catches on. Mobius is the one who couldn't do it, and his partner was Renslayer. She pruned a baby. So I want to talk about this, and let me make sure I wrote this in my. I wrote this in my notes because we have to talk about this again, about her essentially killing a baby. Right? We'll get back to that. But no comfort. There's no comfort. You choose your burden. Okay. He thanks him, shakes his hand. Mobius spaghettifies. Loki goes back to the end of episode 5, where it's just him and Sylvie, and he successfully stops time and says, "I've controlled the flow of time," and has this conversation with her, right? And he says, so none of this would have happened. And she catches on if she didn't kill he who remains. So you got to kill me. And she's like, well, don't think I'm going to give you a blessing. And this is part of what annoys me about Sylvie is this conversation here where she talks about you want to protect free will for all of that, right? And Loki retorts, what good is free will if everyone's dead? That's a good point. Good point. But who are you to say we can't die fighting or try fighting or die trying because you're replacing one nightmare with another. And she who grew up in different apocalypses says there's something that she learned, if there's a hope that you can replace a thing with something better, blah 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 blah. But my goodness, she's literally ruining everything. And it's funny that was it Renslayer who said, it's your fault, Loki, you all ruin everything. It's kind of true, man. Like Sylvie's a Loki, right? She's Enchantress slash Loki. I feel like she is so up her own ass at times. Like this character here at this point in time should have had the growth already of, oh no, everything's going away. What are we going to do? Again, what is the point of free will if everyone's gone? And all these people are gone. They didn't get a choice. So by her saying people deserve a choice, you're making a choice on these people's behalf. How do you know these people wouldn't go, all right, well, save everything. Let this dude live. It, she bothers me so much to just be that far up her own ass that she, for some reason, this Loki we have sees the big picture so well. Maybe it's from seeing his own death, seeing the death of his dad and seeing what his brother went through, just seeing all of that stuff. And then seeing all the destruction, like all the stuff that Loki has gone through has broadened his vision. Granted, with the time slipping, he's been around for centuries now, centuries plus, trying to figure all this out. And so, where were we at here? So Loki goes back to the point where they have Victor Timely scan his head to open up the shutters. And Loki beats everybody down there, locks the door, says, I know what I want and what kind of God I need to be for you, for all of us. And this is one of the greatest freaking scenes of the MCU, is where Loki, all of that time radiation burned off his clothes, but then he gets his Loki outfit. Very, very nice, by the way, and the big ass horns. And he destroys the loom, which makes darkness and everything. And as these branches are dying, he's grabbing them, infusing them within himself, infusing them with his life force, and bringing them back alive, opening up a rift into the end of time, taking these branches with him, sitting down on this golden throne, this golden throne. And essentially, he has made himself and made all the timelines into Yggdrasil, or Yggdrasil if you like to pronounce things that way. But it turns into Yggdrasil. And this is basically, that's it. It's Yggdrasil. Yeah, we get to see, Mobius wants to see what his variant timeline is like. And we get Sylvie there. It's like, it's kind of strange about Loki here. Shut up. B-15 is sad to see him go. We get mention of what they're doing now, because the TVA has a new logo. It's a tree. They're the gardeners to nurture the nature of the timeline. They're protecting it now instead of killing folks. We do get a mention of a He Who Remains variant in a 616 adjacent universe that was taken out. That is obviously Kang the Conqueror, who was beaten in Ant-Man, which made absolutely zero sense. Should have just kept that going. But you guys chose a director that gave you movies. I digress. Man, I digress. At the end of it, it looks like Loki can hear through all of time and multiverse too, because he heard Mobius saying he's going to take some time to stay in his timeline. Pretty cool stuff. Man, just I'm still just thinking about the visuals and the ending song "Glorious Purpose." Did you know that the first episode of season one was entitled "Glorious Purpose"? It's it's like a time loop. It's like a time loop. Always it's coming around. The way it begins is the way it ends. Much like how the theme of this second season is with, Ouroboros or meeting Ouroboros. Things seemingly happen over and over again until something changes. Fun. Now let's talk about characters. Now I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm only really gonna talk about two characters, but I'm gonna bitch a little bit about two other characters. Right? Loki has an amazing redemption arc. I mean, he goes from being the guy who always messes with his brother and his father, the guy who brings almost destruction to Earth, where he changes the game because he makes the Avengers basically by all of his machinations. Then he goes on to try to help save the world universe with the whole versus Hela thing, and then gets killed by Thanos. And now he's here trying to be more than what people were telling him for season one. And now here he is just trying to save what he has acquired, which is his friends. He has finally gained people in his life. And now he has become the god of stories. Yeah, from the comics, which this is I can't complain. This is actually a pretty decent variant of that Loki from the comics and of the story, because he almost does the same thing. He takes people's essence, he takes whom they are, just so they don't die or cease to exist. It's when incursions were happening amongst the multiverse. Actually, this Loki meets up with a King Loki from the future. That's a whole other storyline. And then somewhere down the line, Loki becomes gender fluid. He goes between male and female. I don't think he. I think Loki's a he now. I'm not 100% sure. I, while Loki, Agent of Asgard, which I believe was the inspiration for season one. While Loki comics are great, sometimes I don't hear a lot about them. But yeah, the god of stories. As a matter of fact, he was the god of outcasts before the god of stories one too. So we're taking the god of stories because he's allowing the multiverse. He's allowing every verse in the multiverse to have their own story. So that makes sense, and it has been more or less confirmed internally in Marvel that this is what it is. Such a great redemption arc for him. I'm pretty sure we'll see other Lokis. Will they be played by Tom Hiddleston? Who knows? This is a 14-year journey for him as an actor with this character. I would be greatly disappointed if in Secret Wars or in Kang Dynasty, actually, Kang Dynasty, we shouldn't see him, but I would be highly disappointed in Secret Wars if we do not see God of Stories, Yggdrasil Loki. I don't. That should be one of the best things, one of the best looking things, and I want people to go. I want people to see that, for them to go, well, where did that come from? And people to go, you should have watched Loki, and then they go back and they watch Loki, and then they be like, oh, that's good. Yeah, I really need to see that happen. If it doesn't happen, it's really dumb. Um, Second character I want to talk about is He Who Remains. You gotta pardon my language for one moment. What a good fucking character. My goodness, the writing for this character and the acting for this character. I don't care where you fall either way with the Jonathan Major stuff. Seeing this character back, and just the best scene and my favorite scene in this episode, and possibly for this entire season, is just those two talking. For He Who Remains said, I've already seen this happen. I'm just giving you a choice. I allowed all this. The moments of peace you had, that was because of me, because I'm here alone fighting all this. And it feels like this was He Who Remains trying to have his friend Loki to be with him. In a way, it kind of feels that way, right? Because remember, He Who Remains is a variant of Victor Timely. He even does the slow talking part And then it's like, oh wow, Well, the moment he did that, it's like, okay, Or when he stuttered when he says Victor timely, it's like, okay, so he made all that. I firmly believe that he knew Loki was going to do the Yggdrasil thing. I firmly believe that because why? In all of time and space, would he who remains have a random equation sitting there on the wall, not anywhere else in this hyper magical science realm he's in, where he can just show images through physical was it through minerals and materials, stop time, see everything? Why wouldn't he have left that on the board? Firmly believe he did it on purpose. Let me know if you agree or disagree, but he did it on purpose and he saw this coming. I think somewhere down the line, maybe he started to remember his friendship with Loki in some way. Oops, sorry again. His friendship with Loki in some way and said, hey, I'm going to give this guy a chance to do what he's always wanted to do. And Loki does have a glorious purpose now, and he does sit upon the throne. You always be careful what you wish for. But he's doing it not for himself. He's doing it for everyone. Man, I'm still kind of speechless on that. But yeah, He Who Remains, fantastic character, man. I gotta say one more thing. I already mentioned the Ant-Man crap. I hope they continue with Jonathan Majors. I hope everything works out for him, not just for him to play this fictional character, but for his life and his livelihood. It feels like he has been set up by forces outside of his own control. But I sincerely hope things work out for him. And in the event that things don't work out, I don't feel like Marvel needs to distance themselves from Kang, because it is not Kang's fault that Ant-Man was shit. Man, I really hope Past Me did not give that movie a 4, because now the more I think about it, if I gave it a 4, that whole score had to have gone up from Jonathan Majors and Kang. Because I'm just thinking about that movie over and over again, and there are parts of it that just piss me off. Do not get rid of Kang. The perfect replacement actor would be Lakeith Steinfeld. I swear he can do just a greater job as Jonathan Majors. He can do silly, he can do serious, he can do really serious. You should watch if you haven't seen Get Out, if you haven't seen Thanks for Calling, you should definitely watch some of the stuff he's been in. Oh yeah, he's also in The Harder They Fall. Plays a good asshole in that movie. In The Harder They Fall, it's a western. Really, my review for that is on this channel. But Lakeith Steinfeld would be a great replacement for Jonathan Majors. Do not move away from Kang. Kang is too compelling of a character, and you have another great actor to bring this character to life. I know he can do it. Just hoping you don't diss Jonathan Majors. That's all I'm hoping. Let's talk. So, Mobius was pretty sad, right? It's like his buddy's gone. He's going to look at his original timeline. It's a bittersweet moment for him because now he's finally just, I guess, taking in what his life could have been or what his life was. It kind of feels like a Cap closure moment. Like the moment at the end of Endgame where Cap he gets his last dance, which I have other feelings now in retrospect. Like, if you're going to send off Cap, why get rid of Black Widow and Iron Man? We won't even talk about that. I'm gonna let that go. Feels like a bittersweet. Then you have Sylvie, going, oh man, it's kind of weird without Loki here, and patting him on the shoulder. It's like, you did this. And then she doesn't stay at the end. Like, she just wants to go out and be free and try to have a nice little life. This dude gave up his whole entire existence so you can have this. You don't think you can be like, I don't know, a helper agent from time to time at the TVA? At least show some type of gratitude, you ass. This man chose to not kill you, which would have been so much easier. And then he chooses to let you have the life that you want. And Loki genuinely loved her, genuinely cared for her. That's why there are some parts of this series where like I'm all in on Sylvie. Like the stuff in season one, I understood her motivations, why she did what she had to do. She's a great motivator and movement of the plot. But then when I thought that she learned her lesson in episode, was that three? In episode three, when everything imploded and went to shit. And then she comes back in four and goes, hey, you know, everybody got free will. Who cares? Oh no, everything's going away. I'm going to use this super time door thing that's He Who Remains has it. I'm just going to use this and then go and then say, oh man, I'll help because everything's going away, but I still haven't learned my lesson. It's like she doesn't learn her lesson. She might be the Lokiest Loki because she doesn't learn shit. Ah, great character. Ah, so annoying. I already mentioned the new TVA. My hopes for the new TVA was this would be the MCU's version of Exiles. Technically, Exiles started off as an X-Men book with variants of different X-Men people fighting bad things that happen to mutants in different parts of the multiverse. And then somewhere down the road, the Rogue Exiles have some Avengers people and then some non-mutants, because, you know, X-Men have non-mutants in their group. I mean, what? Binary. Who else was part of X-Men that wasn't an X-Man? Juggernaut. He's not a mutant. They've had various people who were not mutants that joined X-Men. So Exiles, having them make sense. Then you jump ahead to the Exiles that Blake is still leading it. Has Peggy Carter. Has Valkyrie. That's based off of the MCU Valkyrie. Then you jump ahead and you have Sabretooth with the Exiles of Krakoa. I would greatly enjoy if I got Exiles from the TVA. I probably won't because I expect the Guardians of the Multiverse to be like an Exiles kind of thing, but no, they will not. So maybe the TVA will bring back Guardians of the Multiverse and possibly work with the Watcher a little bit. The Watcher from the Watcher show, not any Watcher, that Watcher. Don't know if you guys heard today, as of today, which is November 14th, Taika Waititi would not be directing Thor 5, for better or for worse, which is interesting because he made the best Thor movie, Ragnarok, and then made one of the worst Thor movies, which, if I'm going to be honest, Thor 1 is still pretty bad. I would watch Thor 4 over Thor 1. And I watched Thor 2 a lot, and I would still watch Thor 4 over Thor 1 and 2. So I won't say he made the worst, but he did not level that movie up like he should have. So because we got a redemption with Loki, I would greatly enjoy if we get a redemption for Thor, you know. Thor can have funny parts. Loki proves this is a good way of having funny parts and having deathly serious parts. I would prefer it to be done like this. Hell, you can also kind of do Thor 4 like the Marvels, right? You don't have to have, well, Thor kind of needs some team ups because he has a litany of characters that we still haven't seen, like Balder, the Brave. We have seen Enchantress in here, but we haven't seen a character like Balder Brave. We still have Valkyrie around. He has folks around him, so oh yeah, well, Brunhild is gone, but yeah, we definitely should, like, they should take a little bit from the Marvels. Like, the Marvels is a fun movie, but skew Thor a little bit more on the serious side because his stories get brutal as hell. They're fun to read. They catch your attention. Figure out some type of genre to base that movie around because Thor deserves a little bit more redemption. Oh yeah, I didn't mention Miss Menace is back, and we get a funny moment where B-15 asks OB, she gonna try to kill us? There you go. So Renslayer has been evil this whole entire time. So Mobius, if you knew that she would kill a kid, what in your damn mind would make you think in episode 3 that this chick, episodes 2 and 3, what would make you think that she would do the right thing? What would make you think she would do for the greater good? When in her mind, it's just, you got to do what needs to be done. And if I say it needs to be done, it should just be done. I'm just saying. And that made her, that moment allowed her to upgrade into a judge position. I'm just saying, bro, you are probably the most bleeding heart character in this series. And you do say, past his prime analyst with a heart of gold. He has a heart of gold. He believed in Loki when no one else did. But that's the only time that paid off because, man, Renslayer just been evil. And Renslayer gets eaten by Alioth at the end. It's very much implied when she sits there at the end of time. And I love the fact that because time had been eaten in on itself various times, we do see that TVA for time, for time always, or whatever that little thing they say in front of her as the purpliness of Alioth, because we spent all our money on Yggdrasil Loki. We can't pay for this thing too. And it's just funny that she goes out not going, oh, she goes just, I want to be strong. Kick rocks. I wanted to say something else, but kick rocks. I'm glad she got it like that. She deserved that more than that one lady who got eaten by the mosasaur in Jurassic World. Now that's a reference. But all in all, favorite part, Kang talking with Loki. Sorry, He Who Remains talking to Loki. Is it a cycle or is it a loop? It's both. Character that stole the entire season, Obi K-Juan. Obi he's right up there, my favorite characters of this series. Like it goes, He Who Remains, Obi, Loki. Those are like my favorite three in this entire season and this entire show right now. Just period. This without doubt one of the best, if not the best MCU show, the best Disney Plus MCU show. I that's all I can say. Now you're probably asking yourself, how come I didn't analyze any other character? Don't really need much analyzing. B-15 wants to do the right thing. Obi is Obi. I really hope we see him again. Casey is semi uninteresting, but at least he's there and he's a friend. And pick a finger for Renslayer. So other than that, fun series. I'm gonna give this episode a 5 out of 5. With you need to see this. This is a must see. 5 out of 5 must see. Wraps up all storylines, all threads, any dangling participles that you can come up with. Just wraps those in a bow, and then presents us with more new things for the MCU. They better take this ball and run with it. It's insane. This came out the same week of the Marvels, and like people talking about the Marvels, but people have started to talk about this. It was hard as hell to dodge spoilers for this because I'm just trying to go on Instagram, just look at some funny stuff or look at some animals, try to talk to folks. And then the whole Loki with the horns, that was everywhere. And then him sitting on the thing, almost looking like Thanos. Oh, that was kind of a callback to Thanos on the throne. Didn't think about that. But very hard, but very, very hard to dodge those things. But this was great. This was fun. Very bittersweet. Had me on the verge of tears because it felt so finite for this character. It's so bittersweet that he's able to save everything he cherishes, but he can't really enjoy it. Very, very bittersweet. 5 out of 5 for me. Then this entire second series is a 5 out of 5, and Loki 1 and 2 together, that is a 5 out of 5. It is the number one for me. Now all I need is for Marvel to give me a season 2 of Moon Knight. Do that before there's an Avengers movie. No offense to Catherine Hahn or to Aubrey Plaza, because I love me some Aubrey Plaza. Get rid of that Agatha show. I don't care. You can put Wiccan in somewhere else. Figure out another way to give us Wiccan. Get rid of that. Give me a Moon Knight season 2. And then I'm happy and I'm satisfied. Please. Please. Again, I want to know what you guys think. Tell me what you thought of the entire series as a whole. Did you like season 2 more than season 1? They're pretty damn good. What did you think of the episode? Was it great? Is Loki is now one of the most powerful characters in the MCU because he holds all of creation literally within his grasp. What are your thoughts on Loki? What are your thoughts on his, I guess, his redemption arc coming to an end? I'd love to hear from you. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to be notified of more videos like this. I thank you for taking some time out to listen to me gush over this amazing episode. I Loki just, I think Loki has made the rotation. Yeah, I think this is gonna make the rotation. I'm gonna have to watch this over and over again. So, thanks, guys. Please be good, be blessed. Wash those hands, drink you some water. Be good to yourselves, be good to others. Either way it goes, don't be a jerk. Make sure you're staying safe out there, all right? Remember, there are people that care about you. Reach out to someone if you're in your own head, if you're feeling down. Remember, you're not out. There are people who care about you and would rather talk to you today than to miss you and mourn you tomorrow, all right? All right. Thank you again. Be good and Excelsior.